Yes. And we're going to do our countdown. Yes. Welcome, folks. Good evening. My name is Caesar Paul. Folks call me C's, as you can see here on the screen, C's Paul. And I host what is called a virtual community dialogue. And try to do this every Friday evening as often as I possibly can. And tonight we are not short of having a good discussion, a dialogue. I'm hoping that will be enlightening, but also will open doors for you as a member of our town, probably, or wherever you are, and you have some interest in the town of Portsmouth, in the Commonwealth of Dominica, in any part of Dominica for that matter. We're talking with a special guest, and we are going to highlight the Portsmouth Town Council election, which is due and which is upcoming on October 5th, 2020. Did you know that, no, I'm not BBS, no, but did you really know that we are having a town council election very soon? If you did not, tonight is the night when we are going to start talking about this. I think it's your duty to know that there is an election upcoming, one, and two. I also think that it's important that you can hear from, if not all the people, some of the people who are offering themselves to serve you. Unfortunately, or fortunately tonight, we have just one guest, but I must inform you that very early, I've reached out to several of the people who are offering themselves to be running in the town council election, hoping that they would be willing and able to come here and to share with you some of their plans, their ideas, etc. Let's hope that by next Friday, we will have a large turnout of some more people. But tonight, fortunately or unfortunately, and I'm hoping it's fortunate, we are having one guest, yes, and you will know his name. This is what our file look like for tonight. And his name is Mr. Ashton Riviere. He is from the town of Portsmouth. He will tell you a bit more about him and some of his achievements, his plans for the community. We're hoping that you can get on board. Ask him any question you'd like. Hopefully we can grasp those questions, have some discussion. I'm sure it's going to be interesting. So stay tuned because this is meant to be positive. So we're just gonna stop the music for now and get straight into our discussion. I saw your comment there, Pop Tart. You say as if you were looking for new faces and names this time around. That's interesting. Probably there are other people who might feel that same way. As to why there might not be more new faces, I'm not sure. But hopefully we will get some answers as time goes by. All right, so let's go with our guest. We want to welcome tonight Mr. Ashton Riviere. Hi, Ashton. Good evening. Hope you can hear me.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening. I can hear you clearly.
All right, cool. I was trying to connect my headphones because just to try to eliminate some noise that might come up while I'm speaking.
Okay, all right.
Give me 1 second. I'll be with you. Let me just take care of that.
Okay, sure. All right, no problem. Do your thing. All right, folks, as we are with Ashton, as he sets up, I want to remind you that tomorrow is the funeral of Mr. Crawford Alexis, the late, and he, of course, a cultural icon in our community, and we have lost a good man and a accordionist. He has played for many cultural bands in the Northern District, and I'm sure not just the Northern District, but different parts of Dominica, cultural groups and cultural individuals have benefited, I'm sure, from his talent. Many people play the accordion today because of Mr. Crawford Alexis. So if you can go out tomorrow afternoon to the funeral, it's down at Portsmouth, close to the gas station, the Ruby's gas station, at R&B Ministries, I think the church, as we say, by Benji, or Pastor Benji Church. Yes, down close to the Ruby's, the Ruby's gas station. So feel free to go down there and support the family, Mrs. Alexis and the rest, and the children, of course. Yeah, so here we go. Ashton, are you ready?
Not yet.
Okay, not yet. All right. Well, as you know, guys, today, of course, marks the anniversary. And I don't even want to call it anniversary because often I think of anniversary in the positive and not necessarily in the negative. But it marks 3 years since Dominica, that is, was bent, you could say, under the wrath and ravages of Hurricane Maria. And I'll be honest with you, as a Dominican, I really don't care to remember that bad experience. But they say it's important to face your fear or face the thing that you do not want to face so that you can conquer. And so I am trying to face the memory of Hurricane Maria as best as I possibly can. I will assure you that I've kind of stayed away from looking at those photos because I don't care to. At this time, it has been 3 years and I've not been very comfortable watching some of the photos. I am still working on me in that way and still working on the trauma of Hurricane Maria. But Dominica is progressively rising above the dust of Hurricane Maria. Not perfectly, I'm sure, but definitely we have made a number of strides. A number of people have regained homes and better homes at that. A number of people have been able to return home because some people left and did not come back, but others came back. And for those of us who never left and we survived Hurricane Maria, we are true survivors and fighters, and we continue to give back to Dominica, our home. So let's stay strong and let's keep hopeful, of course. Let's remain vigilant in the eyes of hurricane season. Yes. All right, so guest is getting set. I'm hoping ready.
Okay, Caesarina, I think we will have to go ahead with my
okay
speakers.
All right, cool.
For some reason, my headphones are not cooperating with this computer. So.
Okay, all right. Well, we can hear you relatively fine. Every now and then there's a little bit of something under there, but for the most part, we can hear you. So let's hope all goes well.
Okay.
All right, so folks, you can understand. Paula, I see you said, I keep following your face, telling me something. That face looking familiar. Is it my face or is it the face of Ashton that you're referring to, Paula? If it's my face, yes, you know me. I spent a lot of time in Clifton as a young girl during summer by Naomi and Naomi Isaac, the Isaac family. So you should know me. I know you pretty well, Paula. So hopefully you know me. I look like my sister. You probably know my sister because you all are about the same age group. So that's probably why you're confusing whether it's Corinthia or whether it's Caesarina. It's Caesarina. Call me C's. Corinthia is my big sister. All right, so let's go. So Ashton, welcome again.
Thanks. It's a pleasure being here.
Yes, I want to thank you for accepting to be on this platform to share with the town of Portsmouth, people of the entire community, even those abroad who belong to the town, your interest, of course, and again, your return to serving, wanting to serve, that is, as a member of the Portsmouth Town Council. We have an election upcoming, but before we go deep into that, can you tell the folks a little bit about who is Ashton Riviere? Tell them about you, who you are, and maybe what drives you to want to serve as a nominee, to serve on the town council of Portsmouth, if elected?
Well, I am Ashton Riviere, as you've heard already.
Mm-hmm.
I am born and raised in Portsmouth. So Portsmouth is very dear to my heart. I mean, I cannot imagine living somewhere else. And as much as let me put it out there, I'm a somewhat reserved person, I should say. So I I go about my business and stuff like that. But on a daily basis, every single day, I think about the needs of our community.
Mhm.
And even when I am not engaging people on a one-to-one basis, um, I keep thinking about how this community and how this town can be better for the citizens. How can we improve the quality of life? How can we provide jobs, opportunities, all that kind of stuff that comes with governance and a vibrant community? I think about that all the time, you know. So in my youth, I played a little bit of football, soccer, and I cannot call myself a footballer, but I,
Your
uh,
brothers can better say they are than you.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I would say that when I go through the town, it aches me that we do not have a vibrant football league because when I grew up, this was something that was part of the community. You had
Mhm.
so many teams. You had Mangroves, Rockers, Santos, Terrors,
Mhm.
Strikers, Cocoton.
Town in the
You
late
know,
time, yeah.
and we
Mhm.
had a very vibrant football league in Portsmouth. Portsmouth was a community that engaged in culture. And
Mhm.
in my lifetime, which is like one generation, all
Yeah.
that seems to have disappeared. So on a daily basis, I think of all those things. And as such, I don't know if it was part of because of my upbringing, because of the influence of probably Sister Gisela when I was
Yeah.
in primary school, and at the time in the 80s when you were taught that you were supposed to be a good citizen.
Citizen, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, so I
Did you,
think
you did civics at PSS as well?
I do civics.
Civics?
I I I cannot remember doing civics now. I
Yeah.
geography. I did. Yeah, there was no civics in my time, but
Yeah,
I did
I
civics at
remember doing
primary
civics.
school.
So yeah.
At primary school, right?
Mhm.
So it is ingrained in me what it is to be a good citizen,
Right.
and I always go back to the foundation years when I learned what it meant to keep your community clean, what it means not to litter, what it means to
Mhm.
take your elders and stuff like that. You know, so it's difficult, very difficult for me. I right now I still cannot. I mean, I hear people doing it on a daily basis. I can't swear in front people who are older than me.
Yeah.
Among my peers, sometimes I might do it, but it doesn't come naturally to me. All right.
Mhm.
What
Mhm.
comes naturally to me though is service to the community. I've always done it. I've always done it. I've served on the council before. I've served on the disaster management committee. I've served on various committees. I mean, name it. Yeah, done it.
So very much a man who has been involved in a number of aspects of the community that, from what you're sharing here. I mean, it's I know folks have seen you and they have known some of your works as well. You mentioned that you have served on the council before. Uh, can you tell us a little bit about your experience having served on the council before and for how long that you served on the council?
It was a very interesting 3-year term for me.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I was nominated to the council. I was not an elected member.
Oh, okay. Mhm.
I was nominated, and immediately on arrival on the council, not to trample on any toes or not to diss anybody, but one of the things that struck me was the the way that the meetings at the council meandered. Sometimes to no point. Sometimes it just felt to me that meetings of the council are supposed to be exercises in productivity and exercises in advancing the needs of the tongue and stuff like that. And I found really the debate that took place when I just got in there to be something that was almost I don't want to say pointless is not a word, but I found it was a very
Would you
meandering
say?
process. Let me leave it like that. You know, people literally repeating each other's arguments over and over and over. And I know that happens in meetings sometimes. It's just
Mhm.
our nature to try to reinforce and try to bring out a point, even if somebody else has expressed it before. But it for me, the business of governance is one where you go in there and you try to get to the point to find solutions to the issues that are before you. And
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the things that struck me at the time, that there was too much talk and not enough action.
All
So
right.
when I got in on the council, I must say I had the pleasure of serving with a wonderful team of people.
Do
And
you remember some of those people, who some of these people were? Would you
uh,
care to mention some of them?
the first, I think Errol Hill was the mayor when I just got in.
Mm-hmm.
We had some serious debates. We had some very, very interesting meetings. And then I think Vernon Daniel was the second mayor that I served with.
Yeah, I remember Vernon. I remember Vernon, young man, young
Yeah,
man.
yeah. I remember the first. I remember the seats I'm serving with Vernon more because I could relate to him. Not that I couldn't relate with Mr. Hill, because I must say I had a very good, a very cordial relationship with everybody that I served with. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the staff of the council, I would make myself available to them. When I say the staff, I mean at the office.
Yeah, yeah, the
The
office.
staff, the staff in the town, and some of the people who go around cleaning the drains and stuff like that. I mean, I would meet them and have conversations with them to find out exactly what it was like for them, because on the council, it's not just about, as a councillor, your role is really as a manager. That's how I see it. You have to look at both sides of the coin. You have to look at the administrative role, but you also have people you work with, and you have to be empathetic, and you have to care about them, and try to
Yeah.
ensure that those people who are out there doing the hard work actually are doing it in an environment that is not going to compromise their health and all of that. So that
Yes.
was
Yeah.
one of the things that I took on. But I must say I remember serving with Vernon Daniel, that council, because we were very progressive in our agenda. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember undertaking the exercise of, well, the information was collated before and gathered, where for the collection of rates and taxes in the town. All the buildings were assessed, but all the information was just sitting in boxes for like years. So when we came in there, and I saw that, I took it on as a challenge, a personal challenge, to move the process forward. And when I would get home from work at night, sometime I would just sit on my computer for another 2 3 hours, and I came up. I worked out a spreadsheet using the forms that were used to collect the data,
Mm-hmm.
spreadsheets, and then we put all of that into a workbook, and then we linked all of that and prepared a nice budget and all of that for the council. You know, so that was one of the first major tasks that we undertook. The At the
So
time,
were you all able to get people to pay those old taxes through that process, or?
we made some headway. We made some
Okay.
headway. The thing is, with the way the council operates, is that every 6 months, I think, we have to submit a resolution to central government, to approve the collection of rates and taxes. So it's not just the council saying, you have to come and pay. The resolution has to be submitted, I think, either on an annual basis or 6 month basis. It's not very clear to me right now. But
Mm-hmm.
I remember when we did that exercise. We submitted the resolution to government, because along with the new rates and taxes, it wasn't really new, but we changed some formulas, because we were looking as a council at increasing the revenue, or making it more efficient in our collection of revenue for the council. Because one of the things we realize is that the council does not have enough revenue to carry out a lot of the services that it needs to carry out.
Mm-hmm.
But I see it as a chicken and egg situation, because you really cannot expect people to pay you if they feel, there's a perception that there's no
There's no service. There's
being
no
delivered
service.
for the
That's
money that they're paying.
right. That's right.
But if the council does not collect the revenue,
Then he cannot do the
how are they
service.
to deliver the services?
Yeah, get you.
So you had to start somewhere, and we felt at the time that one of the things we had to do was get the administrative aspect of it in order. So all the properties in the town were reassessed. We came up with new formulas on how to calculate the different rates for different properties. For the first time, we categorized the types of properties in the town so that you had commercial and residential, and we really worked out the values based on the actual property values rather than the size of the building. Of course, to come up with the property value, we had to take some things into consideration. But all right, I don't want to get into the nitty gritty. But it was discussed and debated over a long period at the council. And
So that was one of your major projects.
Yeah.
Was there any other major project that you during your time that you all undertook that you recall?
yeah, we did a lot of work at the market because the vendors at the market were having a lot of issues then. So we really did a lot of work in the abattoir area. If you go into the market now, you see above the booths where they have the booths where Eugenia sells a boudet and stuff like that. They were
That was constructed during all the time.
No, it was constructed before us. But what happened is that they left a gap between the two buildings.
Okay.
When it rained,
I remember that.
From all the way into the market.
Yes.
That seemed to have been a very perplexing issue before we got on the council. And when we got there, I went in there and I looked at it, and then we went back to a meeting and I said, but wait a while, this is something very simple. Let's just put a piece of roof to cover the thing.
Yeah.
And that was done in like no time, so we resolved that. We also tried to regularize the whole rates of vending at the market. We tried to formalize the vendors to make sure that everyone there is registered, so everyone pays a license, so that we can raise revenue to improve the facility at the market. Unfortunately, let me not get to that yet. You asked me what are the initiatives that we were pursuing.
Yes.
We had a very nice development plan for the Borough Square.
But I want to cut you there because I realize that a number of the things that you are raising are things that a lot of it has not been implemented, if I'm to say that. And I wonder what motivates you, knowing that, and you've done a lot of that groundwork along with a team, of course, of people. What would motivate you to want to offer yourself again, to go back to a quote unquote maybe frustrating situation? I don't know. I'm inferring that it was a bit frustrating. So, what motivates you to want to go down that road? And of course, you can talk about the plan that you were about to talk about in that regard too.
I'll answer that question because I live here. That's the answer. I live here.
Okay, I like that. I'm good with that too.
And I have a daughter who is growing up here. And if the quality of life of the community deteriorates, eventually it's going to affect my home, right?
Agreed.
So it's a very simple thing for me. And everybody else who lives in Portsmouth, I care deeply for Portsmouth. I care deeply for my town. Even though I don't interact with the people.
And why? Ask me why.
Why? As I said, I'm a very reserved person. You engage me in a conversation. So if you engage me in a conversation, I might have the world to say, but I don't want pushing myself in people.
Yeah. But do you think that plays for the to people? Do you think that gives guys people wonder, well, if he doesn't interact with us, why should we support the quest to get him to lead? I know a number of people have seen you lead, but let's talk about the younger generation in that regard. Maybe they don't quite know you enough, and since you say you don't really interact a lot with people. I mean, do you think that can hamper your chances of getting to serve in that capacity going forward?
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. But it's my personality. I mean, I don't know. I can go out on a mission to change that and be the most hospitable person out there, but then I'm gonna take on a lot of stress that I don't necessarily need to. I
Mhm.
don't think somebody who wants to serve should necessarily be on the block to understand the plight of the young men on the block. I don't think I have to go, although I go and have a drink now and then with my buddies. I don't think I have to pull up in a rum shop for me to understand why people gather at a rum shop, and or for me to understand the discussions that they have in there. As a matter of fact, of late, I have observed that I've had so many conversations with the Haitian guys. Um, One or two of them know me, and everywhere they see me, they call me boss, boss. But what I find interesting is that their friends walk up to me now and say, "Hey, boss!" All of them call me boss, and they strike up conversations with me. Some of them are afraid. They're wondering what's going to happen to them because somebody started a story that the government of Dominica is deporting all the Haitians. Um,
Mhm.
and it's interesting to me because they walk up to me and ask me questions, but our young people don't. It's not. Some people think I'm unapproachable, but I speak to anybody and everybody.
All right. Well, I mean, as you say, if people come up to you, they will interact. You will talk with them. You will converse with them. I think everybody's personality is their personality, and I think also I believe two people's work must speak for them. And you have highlighted a number of things that you have done in the past, the various committees you've served on, and things that you have been doing and things that you are doing. I know that you've been doing a lot of things otherwise, and I'm hoping that you can chronicle some of them outside of just the council. I mean, there are other things that you have done in the community. I'm hoping that you can chronicle some of them as well. That your personality is your personality. Completely respect that. But I strongly believe that if you're offering yourself, and especially someone is asking you which ward you didn't mention, but we know it's in the Lagoon
Oh
area,
yeah,
Lago area,
yeah.
right?
I should say that I am going up on the council election to represent the Lago ward. Um, but we have to look at the council election as putting a team of persons in there who will look at the needs of the community of Portsmouth. Because
Yeah,
really and truly, I cannot go there and represent the Lago ward and think in terms of cleaning the roadsides and the drains in Lago, and that's the end of it for me. I
right.
think there is so much more that the council must be responsible for in the community other than just cleaning up the
Mhm.
little habits. And as councillors, you have to be able to bring something to the table beyond looking at the issues within your ward if you want to go representing the council. Or if you
Mhm.
want to go representing the town, because you're not representing Lago, or you're not representing Glanville, Ward number 1, Ward number 2, or Ward number 3, Ward number 4. You are essentially putting up yourself for service of the town of Portsmouth. And there are
Right.
much broader issues in the town that will impact the community that you come from, the ward that you come from. Um, as a matter of fact, the broader issues that affect the town are probably more important to the development of the wards than the little issues on the ground. The little issues on the ground, that's things that we can put a little local committee together and deal with a lot of them. But the broader issues around the governance of the town are what is going to impact the quality of life of the people in your ward and in the entire town even more.
So yes, I'm with you that anybody who offers themselves up to serve in any ward is not just serving their ward, but definitely the entire town and the various concerns of the people. As a person residing in one of the wards myself, I have my personal concerns about representation in that area. And I'm hoping that some of the people offering themselves to serve in the Zika Chance area will show up because I extended invitations so that they can share with us too what are their plans. So although you said that it's the broader picture that you're looking at, which is the town, I would like to ask you whether you can share with us some of your own, what is your platform, if I can say that, or what are the things that you would like to see happen especially in your ward, but I know from your past experience having served on the council, you do have a broader perspective, maybe than some people who may not have served before. You do see the community need as well on a broader surface. But I'd like to start first of all, maybe on your ward. What are some of the things you would want to address there, and you can transition into some of the things that you hope to see if you're part of the council, things that you would be advocating for example, for the folks.
Well, ward number 4 is Lago, and Lago, for me, must be an area which is a tourist area. And I say that because our economy, Portsmouth has had some agriculture, but traditionally tourism has been the bedrock of the economy in Portsmouth, tourism and shipping and stuff like that. So Lago in itself, ward number 4, has to be transformed into an aesthetically pleasing place. It has to be beautified, it has to be cleaned. So sanitation of the community, I think, is one of the major issues here. And when I say sanitation, I'm talking everything from the drains to the removal of white goods and scrap metal and stuff like that in the community. If I had the power, and I mean that goes beyond the council, because I think there needs to be a real development first, careful planning of the development of the Lago area, including housing and Cotton Hill, Grange, and all of that. I mean, we have this ward really is like one of the prime areas in the community. I mean, Portsmouth, they say, must be the engine of growth of Dominica. If you look at it on a even smaller scale, you look at Lago, and you look at Grange, and you look at Cotton Hill, and you see that those lands are, I mean, just right for development of housing, of tourism infrastructure, and all of that. But a lot of those issues are outside the ambit of the council.
Yeah,
the council, though, I think, can advocate for development even outside the scope of or the power of the council. So the Portsmouth Town Council can bring those issues to the table at a central government level. It doesn't mean that because we cannot go and cut a new road from Grange to Tatan, that we're supposed to dismiss it as something that we cannot do. We can advocate for it.
You know? I agree.
So those are some of the things that I think the council can do. So to get back to your question, sanitation, I think there is really and truly no real green space that people can go to recreate. One of the projects I would really like to see in the community is a playground for children.
Yeah, have you identified a spot that you think that can fit? We can get a green space in that area. I think
the Benjamin Spark has enough space to take a decent playground. So and given that we are a large community.
Ashton, if I remember, without cutting you, if I remember, there was once, I think some people made an effort to set up a sort of a little space, especially for the children. I don't know if you remember that, and it was very short-lived in Benjamin's Park. Yeah. I'm not sure.
That was the Ross University that sponsored the playground in the Benjamin's Park.
Right.
But so for various reasons, the construction, the quality of the materials that were used, and
do you think vandalism?
Management. Well, when you talk about vandalism, is management and quality of materials, because there are materials there are playgrounds that are designed with materials to withstand the vandalism and
Mm-hmm.
the abuse that comes with such a facility. So we have
Right.
to look at when we're doing this project, what quality of materials we use. I mean, a playground designed for the preschool grounds, for instance, where there's a fence and a limited number of children, cannot be placed in the Benjamin's Park where anybody has access to it and everybody has access to it. You know.
Okay,
So I
so
think
someone, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
we need a green space. We need a place where children can recreate. I mean, let's think about our elderly. There's no recreation for elderly here.
I agree with you on that.
So
Um,
I will get back now to us doing the valuation of all the properties in the town. When we did that exercise, the next thing I realized is that the council does not have a budget really. Okay, I mean we,
so
we
how are you going to help them to get one?
huh?
How are you going to help them to get one?
Oh well, that's an exercise that we did back then.
Right.
When we did the valuation of the properties, what we did is we produced another spreadsheet and we tied the valuations to the spreadsheet and we created a budget. So because you're dealing with public finance, you're not looking to make a profit, but if you can
Mhm.
make a surplus at the end of the year, then you put that towards next year's expenditure and all of that. But what we did then was we looked at stuff like carnival, festivals in the community. We looked at activities for the elderly, activities for children, sporting activities, and all of that. And we put that into a budget uh, for the council, taking into consideration our projections and revenue and what we were going to request from the government in terms of a subvention. Because the government provides a subvention to the
Mm-hmm.
Portsmouth Town Council.
Mm-hmm.
When I was on the council, that subvention was $20,000 a month, I think,
Yeah.
and it had been like that for probably the last 20 years. And I
Mm-hmm.
was council about 10 years ago. So
So what are you recommending?
if you were to factor in inflation over 30 years, right? If you were to factor in the growth of the tongue over 30 years, if you were to factor in the needs of the tongue at this time, you would understand that $20,000 is pocket change. It does
For a
not.
year, for
Huh?
for for the
No,
for an entire
on a
financial
monthly
year.
basis. On a monthly basis.
Oh,
On a monthly basis.
can you
So
repeat that again? Repeat that for me, please. What's on a
one
monthly basis?
$20,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Well, I suppose it has a lot to again you mentioned about advocacy. I mean, if over 10, 20 years the council has been receiving a particular subvention from central government, and over time, as you mentioned, inflation, expenses would have grown, a number of things would have changed, and the council, well, I'm hoping probably they are. Again, I'm
But
assuming here
I'm hoping that by now it will change.
advocating for a greater subvention so that it
Yeah,
can meet the needs of the town.
yeah.
And if they are, I mean, what are some of the strategies that they're using? Because if they're asking the same way over and over and nothing is changing, then maybe they need to evaluate the strategy that they are using to
No,
to pull the ears then of central government, if we can say
but,
that.
but I think I don't believe in central government just dishing out money. If you're going to ask central government for
You have to show your work.
in subvention, you have to justify the
Agreed.
so
Agreed.
why do you need an increase?
Right.
But you have to in the justification of the increase, you must produce a document, and the document must be in the form of a budget. It must be a detailed list of what you want to achieve, even some justification, because probably you're going to be introducing some new ideas to central government.
So let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. Whenever they're giving the 20,000 every month, is there is there a report that precedes their receipt of a 20,000 for the following month? I mean, is the council expected to submit to central government a report of how the previous 20,000 was spent?
Not that I'm aware of. The council is
Mhm.
expected to keep accounts, and those
Mhm.
accounts of the council are subject to audit by the accountant general at any time,
Right.
right?
Okay.
As
So
a matter
that's
of fact,
why.
if I
Mhm.
remember well enough, I think even the business of the council, I think there's a clause in one of the documents governing the council that the council's business is the people's business. So
Well, I hope so.
when I got on the council, that is something I try to make literal, to
Yeah.
bring people in there and say, yeah, you can inquire about what goes on in the council. Go
But
there and
do you think everybody is open to that? All the people on the council are open to that concept or that you
well,
know
back then
thought?
I know that they were not.
Hmm. Wow. So
But
it's something.
I believe that has everything to do with the citizenry in the town.
Okay.
Because
Tell me.
if people don't ask questions, then the answers wouldn't be forthcoming. And if you, as a citizen, go there and you know the business of the council, you know what the laws, you know the act that governs the council, and if the act says that, or the standing orders say that a citizen can come and inquire about X, Y, and Z in the council, and the clerk is supposed to provide information, and nobody goes there and asks those questions, then what reason do they have to provide the information? You know?
All right. So you raising some points there, and to be honest with you, and as you're speaking, I'm watching some of the comments that are coming up, and one of the things that I
I
am
can.
picking up.
Where can I see the comments on Facebook or something?
On one of the lives, that is, you'd have to kind of be following the live, probably from on the Facebook page, influences, or on the YouTube channel, influence, most likely on the Facebook page, but some of them are via YouTube as well. So I saw here, and I kind of want to read a few of them, so you can, if you want, you can deliberate on some of it. One person says that I'm not sure if I'm really going to vote in the town council election. Another one says, in Blankville, there's a disabled lady, and next to her residence has an empty lot with a big bus that is causing rats, cockroaches, and centipedes, which start coming inside her house. She wrote to the well, boy, she wrote to the power rep and no response. She wrote to the mayor, but no reply. That's what somebody's saying. The owner do not want anyone to go on their land, and what can the council do to assist something like that? No, I know you can't speak for the council because you're not on the council, but in the event that you go to get in, and maybe from your past knowledge, is there anything that the council can do in a situation like that to assist somebody? Another person is saying, Mark Limbridi is saying, Ashton, I agree with you that the needs of the town has changed, and more money is needed to date. So we were talking about the budget there. Anne Savre, again, the town council made numerous annual collections from us with no service from them. We still had to be paying persons to do what the council was supposed to be doing in our area. So, I mean, these are some things that people are just expressing. Portsmouth Town Council is more of a carnival organization. Another one says, in addition to appealing to central government for increased funds, the council also needs to undertake greater fundraising initiatives of its own. And that's from a young lady here from the town, Antonia. So now I don't expect you to probably be able to answer all the questions. I'm not asking you to answer them, but these are just some thoughts that people. Now, the reason I'm reading these two is because you said something that really struck me there, that the people must understand that they can walk into the council and ask for information. But as a person, as a member of the town, as a resident of the town myself, I often wonder how much do people or citizens know about the council? How much do we know about what is happening with the council? Do we feel the presence of the council? And I'm saying that to you as somebody offering yourself to the community to serve. Even the election is coming up. How many people really knows, apart from the DBS radio and nonsense nomination? How many people really know if election is coming up? You have to know my so go ahead. It's a lot I said there, but you can start wherever. Yeah.
Well, to take the last comment, it it
Hmm.
it strikes me that or it seems to me that the council elections are really held in secret. I raised the matter with the folks from the local government division the other night that I only find out the day before nomination day that council elections is coming up. Uh,
Wow.
when I went to get nominated, the registering officer in Portsmouth, she said that we had put up notices
Who's
on the
going to read that?
that's Anita Rodney.
Yeah, but notices where? Where did they put the notices? On
Exactly,
the radio?
exactly. She said that they put the notices up on the poles, just for the and stuff like that. And
It's a joke.
I
Sorry
said
to say,
to
but
her,
if that's the only place, it's not enough. We have to do better than that. This is a major town. This is a town. Now, I'm saying that on the premise that I've listened recently to some elections, some village council elections, and the latest one, Daly's, for example. And I've heard about the dynamics of that election in the community and how people got on board because to them it was a big deal. A town, this is a town. This is a
exactly,
town. We're talking about putting up notices for nominations on a poll. All due respect to the person who did it, but I'm saying it's good. But is it
no,
sufficient? Is it
no,
sufficient?
no. Let me say this. Let me say this. You have three different organizations here who are supposed to inform
Yeah.
on the upcoming elections. In my opinion, you have
Mm-hmm.
the local government division, you have
That's
the electoral office, and you also have the Portsmouth Town Council. One of the roles of the Portsmouth Town Council should be to inform and educate people about the Portsmouth Town Council elections. There is no question about that in my mind that
yeah.
the sitting council has a responsibility to invite other people in the community to sit on the council. It's not nobody estate that there, as far as I'm concerned. But I see it as people trying to really do the thing in secret so that they can stay in there. That's as far as I see. I have to be blunt about it. Some people are just sitting on the council for being there sick. You know,
Hmm.
that's how I see it. I want to comment on a couple. I want to respond to a couple of the comments that are made there. The,
Yeah.
and I just going to fly through them. Uh, I saw the comment by Anne that the town council is a carnival organizing committee. That is way of this.
Right.
Uh, I don't think the council contributes enough to the development of carnival in Portsmouth. For me, carnival is an economic activity. It's not just people jumping up in the street. I mean, if you know anything about carnival, it is one of the biggest attractions for tourists. It's one of the biggest.
Do you think it still is?
Well, yeah, man. For Dominica, it is, of course.
Oh, Dominica, I was talking about
Yeah,
Portsmouth. Sorry.
yeah, but that is what we have to understand in Portsmouth. That if it is
Mhm.
one of the biggest attractions for persons coming, or one of the biggest attractions for Dominica tourism, then
Mhm.
it can be one of the biggest attractions for Portsmouth tourism. All right.
Yeah.
So we have
So
to look at it as an economic activity. Sure, we can enjoy it whilst we're making money, but we have to look at it, and the council has to look at it as an economic activity that brings revenues to the community. That I think is one of the roles that the council should be playing. All right, the the council should be thinking in terms of if the businesses in the town can make money, then the council should be collecting taxes from those businesses, and that is where revenue comes in. All right.
mhm.
In terms of the provision of collecting of taxes and not providing
So,
services,
yeah.
I think we touched on that earlier. So it's a chicken and egg situation, as I said. The amount of revenue that the council collects right now may not be enough for it to go into providing all the services that it needs to provide in the Picard area.
Mhm. Yeah. The boundary issue with Picard. I know there was
And
some. some concerns about
There's no
that.
issue. There is no issue with the boundary. The Council Act says that the municipality of Portsmouth extends to 1 mile beyond the boundaries of the town.
Right.
The current boundaries of the town is at
Picard.
Picard Bridge, for instance.
Mhm.
1 mile out of that takes you all the way up to Secret Bay and all of that.
Right, but
So
I know in preliminary times or prior there was some concerns about it.
yeah, but the law is clear on that.
Right,
So that is not an issue.
right, but someone
What?
in Picard is saying that they don't feel that they're getting service.
Yeah.
Although they're paying their taxes.
No, and I have to agree with the person. That may not be the case now.
Hmm.
But how many people in Picard are paying the taxes?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? If the council cannot collect enough revenue, for instance, right now we have a garbage truck that picks up garbage in the Portsmouth area. I don't think they pick up garbage in the Picard area. That is
Really?
something that I would want to see changed.
Somebody can tell us if it's not so.
I think there's a different service from solid waste that picks up the garbage in the Picard area.
Area. Okay.
So those are some of the things that need to change. What are the services that are necessary in the Picard area? I mean, you have some properties that are developed in the Picard area, and the way that the development has taken place in the Picard area, we have to define the services. What type of services are needed there? That is something that the residents of Picard can bring to the council and say, yes, we are willing to pay our taxes, but these are the services that we need.
Right.
Right? So this have a role to play.
I think and I understand what you're saying, but I believe that just like a relationship where reciprocity is important, if the people do not feel the pulse of the council, I don't think that they will understand the importance of even listening to the council when they come and ask for people to pay their taxes. That's my view on it. If people don't feel the pulse of the council, they won't be willing to pay their taxes. No, I'm not saying that that should be the case, because we still have a responsibility to our community and our nation. But in reality, and other people are expressing it there, that they feel like Portsmouth needs a certain kind of revamp, a new energy. People are saying it there. And I don't know. I am from Portsmouth, and I'm frustrated even discussing this tonight. I'm sorry, but I have to try to hold myself here. Go ahead. Okay, I think you froze there for a minute.
It is understandable that members of the... Am I back?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so I was saying it is understandable that members of the community would be frustrated if they are paying their taxes and they are not receiving services. We have to look at the rate of collection at the council. I remember in my time there, it was abysmal. It was something like about 20% or something like that. And this is something that has to change. Mm-hmm. How do you change that? I mean, there are certain measures that the council can take to collect taxes. We have to be prepared as a council to address those issues head on. And from my experience, politics, and I'm talking about the Labour Party, Freedom Party, UWP Party, politics is detrimental to the governance of Portsmouth, right? And we need to move beyond that. We need to see the governance of Portsmouth in itself as something separate from party politics, right?
And these are Ashton's views, by the way, not virtual community dialogue views, but that is Ashton's views. Yes. I just put in my disclaimer there.
They should be shared views. They should be shared views, because there's a difference between partisan politics and what should be going on at the council.
At a local level, I think there should be a separation. I think, although there is a subvention that the central government gives to the local authority, but I personally believe when it comes to governing the community, that there should just be let us look at community and not make it partisan. I think we're being more destructive in our community if that is the route that we're going or that we have been doing, and maybe it will show, or it shows itself based on what what is or is not happening. So it's a concern. I've heard that view expressed from a number of people in the community. I've heard that, you said it tonight, and lots of people express it privately as well. So I mean, it's something that as a community we have to look into. I mean, are we satisfied as a people with where we are in the town as it relates to local governance of the town? And if not, what can we do? Someone is saying they only found out about the council election tonight because they're tuned into this program. We have to do better. I really think we have to do better as a people.
Yeah,
So yeah.
that was very disturbing to me that the council really did not publicize the upcoming election, because I think that is one of the key roles that the council must ensure that it involves the community in the business of the council, and they should play a leading role in publicizing the upcoming elections. I see Antonio made a point earlier that
the people, I'll get it for you. Mm-hmm.
that in addition to appealing to central government for increased funds, the council also needs to undertake greater fundraising initiatives of its own.
Yes.
And this is something that I'm firmly behind. I think that the council should empower its staff to the extent that you have somebody in there that can write projects and for NGOs and quasi-government bodies and stuff like that for funding. We do not have to go to central government all the time for money. The council should first of all ensure that it collects the rates and taxes in the town, because you're not going to apply to any NGO for funds and then they're going to look at your operations and see that you're not collecting any taxes in the community that you're supposed to be collecting it, and then money,
Mm-hmm.
There is a saying in the Bible, God helps those who help themselves. I don't know. I'm not a very Bible person, but I think there's a saying like that.
I don't know if it's in the Bible, but it's an expression. God helps those who help themselves.
Exactly. And then for every project that you may write or something like that to a partnering agency, they want to see exactly what you bring into the table yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're not just going to give you money and you're not putting anything, even though you express in kind contribution in the project as a cash value, but you have to be able to express that in writing the project.
Mm-hmm.
That when you bring the project to an external organization, they say, okay, well, they are trying X and Y, let's support them. All right. So I really think that the town council should have somebody on board that can undertake those projects.
Does the person have to be a councillor? Do you think the person has to be a councillor, or can it just be someone in the community who might be willing to support the council in that way? Or
I think the person has to get paid. I don't think the person has to be a councillor.
It's a lot of work doing those projects for sure. So yes.
Yeah. The person has to get paid. If you find somebody, if it means that you find somebody outside of the council staff to write the projects, but you have to, as a council, engage somebody to do that, because there's a lot of financing out there for stuff like climate change, which we as a council have to be looking at. You have disaster management. You have not just climate change, but
anything to do with environmental issues, really.
Huh?
I say anything to do with environmental issues. They are very
even matters of governance. You may be able to get support from agencies worldwide on matters of governance.
So indirectly, what you're telling us is, if you were to get onto the council, these are some of the things that you would like to address, I'm guessing.
But those are things that we advocated for already.
Mm-hmm.
One of the saddest experiences for me, as far as the council is concerned, right, is that when I left I had to leave the council. One, I was a nominated member. Secondly, I had moved out of Portsmouth for a short while. So I was living in Teplat, and then the council election was coming up at that time. And the most interesting thing happened, because I know that the councillors who were on the council at the time enjoyed working with me. There's no question about that. I mean, some of them may not have liked my methods, because I'll say it as it is. Um, Funny thing, you see, I said I'm a very reserved person, but when I'm on the in the council and we have a meeting, I'm the most outspoken person. You know,
Hmm.
I will argue and I will support and argue anything that's on the table. But when I moved to Teplat, the election came up and I could not contest the election, although I worked in Portsmouth full time. All right. So, but I understood that. So even before I left the council, I had already informed the council that I would not be able to contest. But if you all want to nominate me, I can be a nominated member because I know the law concerning residents does not apply to nominated members.
Okay.
There's precedence for that. Uh,
Hmm.
and the funniest thing happened, there were a group of people who made it their business to ensure that Ashton would not be nominated on the day and Ashton would not be for elections. And if you are not elected for you to be a councillor, you also have to be nominated by government.
Okay.
So,
We kind of missed a lot of part there because you kind of your internet froze a little bit. So I'm not sure what you said. You were saying that there was a group of people who was trying to ensure that you were not nominated, but then you did say something to the effect of, um, if you're not nominated, then you cannot be. What was it?
yeah,
If
you
you're
have to be nominated by two
nominated,
persons for
right?
for elections. Now the
Oh,
council has 13 people on there. If
mm-hmm,
I elected, and then you have five, I think, are nominated by the government,
right.
or it's supposed to be by local government, but you know how the thing works already. Um, so it's two nomination processes that actually go on. So that's what I was explaining.
Mm-hmm, okay.
Yeah. So there were people trying to ensure that I would not get back on the council. I mean, and simply for advocating and trying to do things in a different way. People were just trying to ensure that the status quo was maintained. It really baffles me, and I speak very openly and very freely on it because, to be quite honest with you, I it does not bother me that people may not like me if I do that, or people may not like that I do it. You know, it really doesn't bother me. I know myself.
Yeah. How are you going
To the table.
how are you going to and there is a question, by the way, from Marvin Breedy. Um, the question is, are the people willing to pay the taxes on a regular basis because the town is being drained by all the lack of paying taxes? I guess she was just, it's kind of a question, but it's also sort of like a statement
Uh-huh.
that she's making an observation truly that are people really willing to pay the taxes on a regular basis? Because she said the town is being drained by all the lack of paying taxes. I don't know. So it's just something, again, I believe for people to buy into anything, they must know that, that it probably it's not the best approach, but we all know that thing where people say, what's in it for me? If I pay taxes, what's in it for me at the end of the day in the town? If people don't feel that they are getting service, we kind of visited that already. But I want to go a little forward ahead and ask you then.
No, let me interrupt you a while.
Mhm,
Before you go
yeah,
forward, hold the thought, eh?
hmm,
Um, Antonio says that people should take ownership. That's the
yeah,
first part of the answer to that question.
yes,
But
you did. Yeah,
the collection of rates and taxes in the town is something that is there by statute.
yeah,
It is the law.
agree. It's the law.
It is the law. Now, you do not want to take people to court for paying taxes, right?
Mhm.
You do not want to put any undue burden on the members of your community. But the taxes due to the council are due to the council by law.
Mhm.
What we have to have is a council that is empathetic, understanding, and willing to do the job of the council. That's all there is to it. That's how
Hmm.
I see it.
All right. So we know you've been on the council. We know you said that there were times that people tried to prevent you from being on the council. You luckily got through to be nominated one day, from not one day before nomination day, and got nominated to be on the council. Between today and October 5th, because October 5th is election day. What is your strategy? I'm not expecting you to give me a secret, so to speak, but I'm saying, how do you intend to engage the people, especially from your ward? Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's Ward 4 that you are contesting. And first of all, maybe you can answer that. How do you intend to engage the people of your ward going forward?
Well, um, I I did mention I actually contested another election when I moved back to Portsmouth,
Okay.
and I lost. I wasn't voted in.
Mm-hmm,
Uh,
mm-hmm.
yeah, what under the bridge?
I find you strongly.
Uh, no, let me put it this way to you. I feel that I have the capacity to serve.
Yes.
I put myself forward. If people decide that they don't want to vote for me, I don't see it as a rejection because it is a democratic right.
Yeah, you're
Uh,
right.
as the amount of energy I put into it when I was on the council before, um, as much as I wanted to serve, it wasn't something that I was very disappointed in in not winning the election or not
Getting
being
elected.
elected.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because what that did for me was it gave me more time with my family. It gave me time to do other things. As you know, I was involved in the Positive Vibrations project.
Yeah.
I put myself into that. I still involved in Positive Vibrations, as a matter of fact. As you know, I contacted you. We are trying to get the project back on stream.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
At this time, I am also involved in a project at the Home for the Aged. I am working with a few friends of mine from who are based in the US, and we have constructed a very nice facility over there. And right now, engaged with that, trying to get some equipment. We're trying to get some equipment for the facility.
What is the facility exactly?
The facility that we've constructed there, it's a small building that we've constructed apart from the existing structures that are there. And it is supposed to serve as an entertainment center for the folks up there. And
Mm-hmm.
the design is such that during the hurricane season, it can double up as a hurricane shelter.
Okay. Nice.
So
Nice.
I just went there today to have a look at the project to see what progress is being made, what are the next steps and stuff like that. So
Okay.
basically, I've been the man on the ground, ensuring that the project is moving forward while my friends over there have been making the effort to raise the funds. What else?
That's good.
I
Mm-hmm.
have tutored at calls for a number of years. I tutored at calls. I mean, free of charge.
Wait,
I've
I
done.
think you were on the board. Weren't you on the board of calls some time ago?
No, I
Am I
wasn't on the
correct?
board.
You're not
I
on the
wasn't on the
board,
board.
but I do remember your involvement there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, I try to. I have stayed away from too many organizations because one of the reasons why I did not feel too disappointed when I was not elected for the council
Mm-hmm.
was because I had so many other things doing. So what it meant for me is that I had a little free time on my hand, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm going into this thing very carefree or anything like that because I'm very passionate about my community. I mean, I do my own thing and I don't look out for praises for it or nothing like that. I do things otherwise. I do several little things here and there, you know. Uh, yeah, one of the most enjoyable projects I must mention that I undertook was I wrote this project for the social center preschool.
Yeah.
I observed since my daughter was born, I had this newfound interest in children. I must confess, before having a child, I never ever thought about children and stuff like that.
Okay.
Not that I didn't care about them, but I never thought
Yeah.
about what it meant to have a child.
So
And
she changed your life.
absolutely, absolutely, not just at home, not
Yeah.
just because of the love I feel for her, but when I look at people interacting with their children,
Mm-hmm.
um, that that just that goes to my heart, you know. So my
Mm-hmm.
involvement with the preschool and stuff like that. Uh, when my daughter started attending preschool, I started thinking of ways for us to improve the quality of the education, the quality of the experience. So one of the first moves that I was trying to make even before Hurricane Maria was getting my friends in the US to donate a playground, because one of the things I observed there, the playground that they have in there is almost non-existent. So I was working on that, and then Hurricane Maria came, and then what happened? The preschool moves into the apartment right next door to me.
Yeah, yeah, right in your mouth.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm sitting at home and I'm listening to them in there, um, going through their classes and stuff like that, and I'm thinking to myself, uh, what can I do to assist? You know. So I wrote this nice little project, and I got them computers, smart TV, printer, and stuff like that, so that they can do some. Right now, they can do virtual learning if they want. So they can have a teacher in the US give them classes. You can
Wow, that's great. Yeah.
unlimited. There's so much that they can do with the equipment there. And then
Mm-hmm.
I went in there and I spoke with the teachers and gave them some ideas on how they could use it, because we use that technology at home with my child, you know. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
one of the
Mm-hmm.
most fulfilling projects to me, and that and the one at the home for the age. Yeah,
Yeah.
and of course, you know, Posy
Yeah. So
Vibrations is
I know
my baby.
yes, Posse Vibrations also. I mean, you got it started, and then Maria put a big break, I would say, on the project. But and
Well,
even after Maria, I
I didn't
remember
get
Grant
it started.
was
Yeah, let's be careful. I didn't start Posy Vibration, but
yeah.
in its current iteration where it is there now, I was instrumental in doing
Hmm.
it.
Hmm. Definitely. I mean, you did um, a lot of work with Posse Vibrations, I must say, and even I was about to say that after Maria, I remember that whenever the disaster management committee met, I mean, there was all, and even before, I mean, there was always a discussion on how can the radio be in the community, radio station in the community be used as a source of education and information for people about the storms that whether they were coming, and even after Maria, how we could reach people, telling them, where certain things would be happening, etc. Because I mean, communication was a big struggle post
Yeah.
Maria with no phones and all of that stuff. So I know it is a major project, and I want to commend you. I'm sure on behalf of the community, I would like to commend you on the work that you have put into positive vibrations and that you are still putting into it.
Yeah,
Trying to get it
a,
right. Yes.
it's a work in progress, because the vision is to see the facility double up as a command and control center during disaster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I was once on the disaster management committee, and I know one of the challenges is during a disaster to have a
Mm-hmm.
focal point where people can
Yep.
source credible information and to have a means of distributing that information.
Yeah.
So the work that we are doing now really is of the quality that will ensure that if there is another hurricane of even Maria strength, that we can probably the next day get back on air. You know, we
Yeah.
may have to take down some equipment
Mm-hmm.
during or before the storms to preserve it, but the
Yeah.
next day we should be able to get back on air. You know,
Right.
and that is a very very important project for me, and I must say that is one of the main reasons why I have stuck with it. I think too that the community needs uh, 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 an institution like Posse Vibrations. It's something that's supposed to bring the community together. It's something
Yeah.
that can be used to educate, to entertain, to you know. So it's very important and dear to my heart. So even
Yes.
if I, yeah,
Yeah, I share that view. As I was about to say, I share that view with you. And I hope that people can truly come on board regardless of what happens with this election, come on board and be part of something positive, like positive vibrations and all the other things that are happening. You spoke about the children. I remember watching the presentation, I think, on Facebook, because
Yeah.
there was some recording of it when you were handing over those equipment to the preschool there, social center. So yes, you people, as you said, you may not be the most outgoing person, but you have been doing a number of things and are still doing a number of things in the community. And it's important for people to know those things because people don't always know those things. I believe the council needs. I like diversity personally. I think it is good when people of different thoughts, even beliefs and ideas can come together. Sometimes you get the best out of it because you have different perspectives that should be able to come together and create a betterment. That's what I would want to hope. And with your experience, having been in the council, I am hoping that I'm not campaigning, but I'm just saying I'm hoping that you understand what I mean? But buy into the message and not so much the messenger. Buy into the person who is offering themselves to serve and being able to make a meaningful contribution to the ward. I think that's important. That's what we should be looking for. I often say election should be not so much about a party, but about a people, a person. I mean, who is the person? What are they bringing to the fore? What can they contribute? But sadly, that is our democracy here. That's how people vote. Parties, partisan. I don't think council election should be partisan. That's my view. Personally, it should not be. It should be about how we can develop our community. That's my personal view, and I'm putting it there out there. So I'm hoping people are listening and will buy into some of what we're sharing tonight.
Yeah, well, again, it's about people taking ownership, you know.
Yeah.
As I said, I don't, it does not bother me if people, or let me put it like that. If somebody were to decide that they're not voting for me because they feel that the other candidate has shared some ideas which they are more impressed with, or they feel that will work for the betterment of the society, and I'm very good with that. I'm happy with that. I want to encourage people to sit down and listen to the ideas, or look at the records and stuff like that, and then make a decision. Make a decision based on where you want to see your community in 5, 10, 15 years.
Hmm.
A lot of our politics here is now and tomorrow, and not 5, 10 years down the line. What am I going to? What is the legacy that I'm going to leave for my children?
Yeah. Good
You
one.
know,
Somebody
and we
saying
have
here.
to start. We have to start thinking in such a
Somebody
line.
said here, Mr. Riviere, good work on the plastic project you are doing. You didn't mention the plastic project. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, for about 6 months last year, I worked with the Rotary Club on the plastics recycling project. That project was housed at the back of the Portsmouth Town Council office. That's the original Town Council office. I'm no
Yeah.
longer with the project,
Mhm.
unfortunately. Um, but again, that is another part of me. That's something that I held very dear to me. It's something, as I said, I mentioned Sister Gisela. So
Yeah. Yeah.
from way back then, it has always been maintenance and preservation of our environment has always been part of me. You know, uh, beach cleanups, community service day. I always find a project for me to do. Um, it doesn't have to be anything big or extravagant, so you might not see me in a group of people mixing concrete and stuff like that. But I will ensure that I do a project which is for
Hmm.
the community. And the last community service day, I extended my community service for the next 2, 3 weeks. I started before community service day, and I
Yeah.
probably continued for 3 weeks after that, just cleaning
Right.
up in my area there. You know,
Yeah.
um, so
Yeah, I'm happy you mentioned that because I do have concerns too about even the way we go about projects in the community on community day of service. Interestingly, we are just heading into independence season. I don't know what it's going to be like. with COVID. But the point is, personally, I do have some concerns about how those things are even organized, or if they're even organized for that matter, sufficiently in the community. So I'm hoping that if people like you get on board in the council, that these are some of the things that can be properly organized to get people of the community to buy more into giving back to community in that way. That I think for me, the liaison between or the connection between community and council is lacking. Generally, that's my personal view, and there is need for a greater connection. So my hope is that you and all the other people who are offering themselves, whoever get elected, that is these are things that will be looked at. The culture you mentioned earlier, and I have to say, because I was happy you mentioned it, we used to be top in culture, in the involvement of cultural group. Yes, I mean we all know there is some history with why culture fall on flat in Portsmouth, etc. There are different perspectives on it, but what I mean, where are we now?
I mean, the question is, what do we do from here?
What do we do exactly? What do we do from here? We need to be able to bring this back, because these were strong points of our community and these brought community together. So I'm happy that that came out as well. And I'm hoping that the council can be a leading force in encouraging people and motivating people in the community to get out and to be part of those activities by channeling the right resources, be them human or otherwise, but ensuring that we can get on board with those things. More organizations happening. We really need some of that. And so I'm hoping, again, I'm throwing it on your shoulder, Ashton, as the first person to come out here to speak, going towards that election, that these are some of the things that you can look at. Caribbean is saying, and I leave it on the screen for you so you can see it. Ashton is very much deserving of the vote in Ward 4 based on track record. And that is the view of Karim Farrell, who is from Portsmouth. He is not home this time, and he does not vote in Ward 4 if he's here. But I vote in Ward 4, by the way, just so you know.
All right,
so,
all right.
Yeah. So
I want to thank Karim for his vote of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
If he's not here, maybe he would have switched his vote to Lago. But I want to thank him. I know Karim pretty well, and I know Karim's heart is in Portsmouth too.
Yeah, very much.
You mentioned something though. I think it's not just it's that volunteerism in itself in Portsmouth is really on its last legs, and that is something that is very disheartening to me. When I do stuff, I do it with all my heart. I just do it. I don't really think of what is actually. As a matter of fact, what I get from it, and probably that's what drives me to do things like that, is the personal gratification of knowing that I do something.
Yeah.
And people have to understand that when you volunteer to do something and you do it out of the goodness of your heart, there's a sense of gratification that you get from that doesn't come from anything else. It doesn't come from your job that you work and get a $20,000 salary.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't get that kind of gratification when you do something and you just do it because you want to help somebody, or you want to help your community. And that is one of the things that drive me. I mean, sometimes I say, Ashton, where you neglect your own personal business, and you go and do stuff for Portsmouth, I have a couple of friends who tell me, "Well, Ashton, but how do you do it? How do you keep doing things for people and it doesn't recognize you for it? How do you put yourself aside and you want to do things for people?"
Yeah, I had a discussion like that today with someone who said to me that he has lost his desire to continue to help in a way, because he feels like he gives a lot, or he has given a lot, but there's no gratitude. So it takes a certain intrinsic motivation and love for, and I'm not saying that person does not have that, but it takes a certain drive, for it. That's why I asked you earlier, how can you continue to offer yourself to serve?
But let me tell you, there was one time when I give up,
Yeah.
There was one time when I just removed myself from all organizations. I just said, okay, now it's just time for me to just chill, spend time with my daughter, and
Hmm.
just do home alone. In quick time, I was miserable, man. You know? Yeah. In quick
Yes.
time, I was like, no, you cannot. I feel if I do not commit, contribute to my community beyond whatever I work for,
Hmm.
that I'm just existing, because you're in a community of people. If you're not contributing something to the community other than what you get in monetary reward for, you're really just existing. You like almost a parasite on the community. You know?
Right. I
And,
believe
and
we should. I believe we should all give something. And you mentioned about voluntarism earlier. You said it's probably on its last leg. I'm hoping that it's not the case, because I do know that a number of people in the town still volunteer. Some
yeah,
very
yeah,
quietly, like you know. But I think there is a need, especially to sort of tap that the energy of our younger generation.
yeah.
A lot of them are not challenged enough to give back, you know. So I think we need to get to that point where we can actually encourage more participation. And I believe, again, organizing. If we have, let's say, a day of voluntarism in the town, it needs to be promoted properly. It needs to be organized so that more people can buy into it. Organize, but also awareness, as you know, awareness, in need for people to see, just like Sister Gisela impacted on your mind, to be a good citizen. I think we need to go back to the basic civics of who is a good citizen, what type of citizens they are, active, passive, etc., and how can we become more of an active citizen? How can we encourage these young people and even adults to be more active? So it's a lot, but we have to start.
I'll tell you, all hope is not lost, because today I was at the project by Positive Vibrations, uh,
Mm-hmm.
trying to get some things in order, and a young man from the community walked up to me
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
said to me, Ashton, how can we help? You know?
Excellent.
Um,
Excellent. Yeah.
yeah, he says he's organizing a sports club, and he wants the club to be more than just a sports club.
Right.
He wants to get the members involved in um, he wants to get the members involved in community work and all of that. And I was quite impressed. I said, yeah, man, no problem, man, come on board, and let's do it.
That's good. That reminds me of a parent who met me and said that his son is organizing a sports club. I believe it's your neighbor, so I need to go look for him.
Yeah,
She did
yeah. That,
mention him to me. Yeah.
that's the same guy we're talking
Right.
about.
Right. So I think he's a positive young man who he was willing to give back to community. So I think there is hope, as you said. There is hope. Someone is asking us. We're coming closer to the time, but someone is asking an important question, and maybe you can answer it. Mr. Riviere, can you explain how the mayor is chosen? And she's asking, is it the person with more votes? So can you just, based on your knowledge, how is the mayor chosen for the town?
The mayor is elected by the council.
Okay.
Simply put, just like how the prime minister is elected by his
Cabinet.
party,
Yeah.
or uh, he- that's how.
Okay. So it's by the council. So
Yeah,
whoever is in the council, at the end of the day, they have a vote and they choose their mayor.
yeah.
Is it secret ballot or is it open? How does that happen?
I think it's when we did it, it was secret ballot.
Okay.
There's an option for show of hands or secret ballot. It depends on
Right.
how the council wants to do the vote.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I hope that answers I hope this person is satisfied with the question, with the answer here. Yes, so thanks for answering that. All right. Well, it's about 9 and we're just about, I realize we could talk a lot about a lot of things, but
Mm.
I kind of want to ask you, what would you offer, to someone who is probably watching right now? They are from the town and they really are not interested in this election story because to them, I saw one person said that they're not motivated to vote. So I'm saying that, what would you say to a resident of the town who is finding out that election is going to be on the 5th of October and they're not interested in voting?
Well, removing yourself from the process is the worst thing that you can do, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not satisfied with the performance of the council, if you're not satisfied with the services that the council is providing, removing yourself from the process doesn't help remedy that. As a matter of fact, it just, when you don't vote, when you remove yourself, it just helps to maintain the status quo. So
Right.
really and truly, your only option is to get involved and to give somebody else a chance.
I concur.
And even
Definitely.
if it means in your ward, there's not going to be an election because, believe it or not, some wards gone uncontested. And
Mm-hmm.
if that is the situation in your ward, then you should probably look to campaigning in Lago for me, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so that you know
Mm-hmm.
that at one person on the council is new, might have some fresh ideas, or you maybe want to campaign in the 3 other wards, see how you can impact the process. But removing yourself from the process does not,
Yeah.
it does not help you, it doesn't help the community. I I
I agree.
I
Yeah.
didn't vote one time. There was one time I didn't vote in an election, and I was miserable after that too because I just felt like I had abdicated my responsibility as a citizen,
Mm-hmm.
that I had to be part of the
Mm-hmm.
process.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody came to
Yes.
me
Yes.
immediately after the election and said, "But Ashton, you didn't vote because I was at the polling station and I know you didn't come there." And I said, "Yeah, I vote." Oh, you know, I didn't vote. I said, "I was there all day," and I say, "Okay, yeah, I didn't vote. So what?" But I really felt bad about it, you
Yeah.
know, because I mean that's like the most powerful tool that you have in your community, you know, to cast a
Yeah.
ballot.
Your vote. Yeah. I
So,
agree. So I think people, we need to look at the various individuals who are offering up themselves in the community and determine who you want to give your vote, who you think can make a meaningful contribution to the community via the local government, the town council. That is up to you, but I don't think you should abstain from voting. There was once I was not very interested in town council elections. I'm going to be honest with you, but having gotten to the point where I have to be encouraging people and letting people know your vote is important, your vote is your power. I cannot tell you your vote is your power and not use my
yeah, they
vote.
do not exercise the franchise.
Okay, I have to do it. I have to set the example. So to your people in Ward 4, going forward, what would you like to leave them with at this point? What can they look out towards? What can they look out for as well with you?
Well, I'm committed to serve. I uh, I have been serving. I will continue to serve even if I'm not elected
Mm-hmm.
because this is an argument that I always make that we need leadership at various levels in the community. A lot of
Yeah.
the time when people talk about leadership, they usually refer to central government and the PAL rep and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
we can all be leaders in our own circles, you know. And if it starts
Yeah.
there, then you can have a cascading effect where good leadership in the sports club, for instance, will lead to probably the understanding among the sports club members the need for good leadership at community level, and then at community level it goes up to central government, and then you have a net positive effect at every level that you go. When people understand the importance of exercising the civic duty to vote and to demand quality leadership from their representatives, then it can only redound to the benefit of the nation.
Yeah.
As far
Mm-hmm.
as the Ward 4 is concerned, I mean, a number of people here would know me in the Delaware Lago community. Um, as I said, I don't go running around and blowing my own horn and trumpet all over the place. But I think I, I will be going out in the community and meeting people and speaking to them. You asked me earlier, how
Yeah.
do I plan to go forward between now and the 5th to see if I can get elected? And it
Mm-hmm.
will really be meeting people one on one and speaking to them about the community. I think most of the talking has to be done after
Yeah.
the election, because yeah, as representative, you are not going there to impose your ideas on the people. You are
Right.
going to represent the people, so you
Mm-hmm.
have to communicate with the people. Yes, to get elected, but the communication has to continue afterwards, and you have to understand the needs of the people. So hopefully, hopefully, people after tonight don't see me as this unapproachable person, and they feel comfortable speaking to me. I will rebroadcast the conversation that we have in tonight, so that and I will share it with people who want to listen to some of my ideas. You
Yeah.
know, well,
Cons- cons-
it will be a one-on-one, and I know there are some persons in the community who know the work that I have done, so I expect that they will be going out and
mhm.
speaking on my behalf. I think if other people speak on my behalf, it's even better for me, because I mean, as you said, there's quite a bit of stuff that I've done in the community, and if people recognize that, you know, I remember the last election.
You are very modest, but when you're offering yourself for service like this, it's
Yeah,
important that people know what you do. Okay, because when I say Mr. But what Mr. doing, I don't know Mr. etc. Well, he has a report card, he has done ABCDEFG. And I mean it's been more modest, but at the same time, you have to be able to chronicle what you have done. I'm happy that you got that opportunity tonight to talk about some of what you have been involved in. I know it's not all, but you've mentioned quite a bit of what you've been doing, and let people know that yes, you are, and you are very conscientious of community. That is something. Maybe, as you said, maybe your style is not always one that everybody warms up to. Everybody's style is different, but nobody can fault you on the fact that, or to say that you are not community oriented. Nobody can say that you are not interested in community. I think if somebody says that they're not being fair, that's my view because of what we've seen that you have been able to do over time. So, so it's important to chronicle it. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
yeah. I remember the last campaign I did though.
Yeah.
Hey, let's not get into it.
Okay, well, leave that alone. I don't know what your last campaign was about.
we might
Anyway,
we might go on for another half an hour to another 2 hours or so.
okay, but someone is asking, can residents of Bonn vote in Portsmouth Town Council election? I guess she's considering the fact that Bonn and Dodan are part of the constituency of Portsmouth. So can you give any feedback on that, please?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think the boundaries extend up to 1 mile.
yeah. From what I'm seeing with the wards, it goes up to Chan, Sikak, go up that way, Glanville, Lago, Central Portsmouth. So I
Mhm.
think that is the catchment area that is
Yeah.
being looked at. Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. Although the
Mhm.
municipality extends 1 mile outside of the boundaries,
Yes,
but I think you have to be living in the boundaries.
for you to be able to vote. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. I want to wish you all the best going forward in the election, of course, on October 5th. And whatever happens, as you said, I know you will continue to give back to your community. You'll continue to support and do what you're doing. But all the best. Wishing you success in what you're. And I want to thank you. I reached out, as I said, I reached out to a number of the people who are offering themselves to be on the town council in this upcoming election. Hopefully, they're elected. And you are the only person who finally said for tonight, yes. So I want to say thank you very much. And I hope that you'll use that to propel your campaign, so to speak, to the people, so that the people can buy into giving you the support going forward.
Yeah, well, I thank you very much for inviting me to speak to you. Uh,
Hmm.
uh, as soon as you asked me, I said yes. So
Yes, yeah.
I have no reservations about that, and I'm willing to talk to anybody about development of not just my ward, but Portsmouth. I mean,
Portsmouth.
you know.
Yeah.
Um, and I hope the other
Well, I hope so too. I'm expecting that.
election make themselves available.
Yeah,
Because the dialogue is important, the conversation is important with the community. So
true, true.
anybody who wants to engage me directly, feel free. My telephone number is 616-1512.
Can you say that again? 616
616-1512.
1512. So if you all want to reach Ashton, you can reach him at 616 1512. And Marvin here is telling you good luck on your endeavors as you go forward. All right?
Thank
Marvin.
you. Thank you.
All right. So thank you. Have a blessed night. Have a good weekend. Stay safe with your family.
Thanks to all the people who turned out to support the program tonight.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure. All right.
Indeed.
And looking forward to hearing you on Positive Vibrations again, sis.
Okay, sure. Anytime, yes. As soon as I can, yes.
Cool. Oh, and Karim too. If Karim is there, tell Karim.
Yes.
He can host this program from St. Kitts.
From St. Kitts, certainly.
Yeah.
And he's a man of technology, so I know that that is not a rocket science to him. So I'm hoping he can get on board as well. Yes.
Yes, man.
I'm sure you did that.
I am very, very excited about the future of Positive Vibrations.
Excellent.
Because, we're going to really take it to a next level. Yeah.
Very good. Excellent. Looking forward. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Take care.
Yes, you too. You too. Bye-bye. Have a good night.
You too.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so folks, there you had it. You heard from Mr. Ashton Riviere, and he shared with you his plans, his ideas, his experience, some of the things that he has been doing in the community that maybe you did not even know that he has been doing. And sometimes we see people and we assume that, what we think or what we think this person may or may not be doing. But it's good to hear from people and to know what it is that they are about. All right. So Ashton having been the first person to come on board and to share his plans and his ideas for the town if he gets elected as a member of the Portsmouth Town Council. And I really hope that somebody of his caliber, of his interest and commitment to community can be given an opportunity to serve. Just to share with you some of the other people who have offered themselves to serve or to become to be elected. Let me just share with you Ward number 1, that is in Glanville. That's Carrie Breedy, Jennifer Jeffers, and Sherrod Pelwy. I'm not sure if Jennifer Jeffers has been before. I know Sherrod has been on the council before, Carrie Breedy for a number of years now. And now I'm seeing Jennifer Jeffers. She lives up in Picard area and she's offering herself. So these are the 3 people for the Glanville area. We also have for Ward number 2, I think. It's not very clear what I'm seeing, but I'm trying here. Ward number 2 in Portsmouth, I think that's Portsmouth proper. We have Felix Carrier, who they call Doc, I think. We also have Adino Douglas, and of course, Adino Douglas is Washway, Portsmouth, and Cliff Seja. So these 3 in Portsmouth, Cliff Seja, all 3 have been on the council before, and so they're not new to council. Ward number 3, we have Frankie Antwine. I'm not sure that Frankie has been before, and ward number 3 is Portsmouth, Chance area. Then we have Glenworth Elise as well from Chance, a young entrepreneur there. Frankie, you guys should know Frankie. He grew up in Cocoton, but he lives in Chance now. Glenworth Elise, he's a young entrepreneur. He does electricals, I think. He's from Chance, lives in Chance. We also have Fabian, I think, Honore. He as well in Chance area. And Sandra Peter for the Zicat area. We have 4 of them contesting for Zicat area. And then for Ward number 4, which is the ward that Ashton mentioned that he's part of, we have Titus J. Francis, who is the current mayor of the town of Portsmouth. I don't know if he still is based on the fact that they're going to election, but you know what I mean. I guess he is. I don't know. I have to find out what are the legal, the constitutional terms at this point, if they're heading towards election and if they have to eventually get a mayor or, a new mayor, whoever it is, even if it's him, it becomes a new mayor. Then, so Titus Francis, J. Francis, for Ward 4. We also have Conrad Mead, Ward 4 in Gotta Village. We have Ashton Riviere, who you just saw tonight and heard from. And we also have Mr. Jerome Xavier from Lago as well. I think he also lives in Gotta area. So these are the people who have offered, who are offering themselves to serve or to be elected. Okay, Ashton is saying to me here online that the mayor and council remains until the new one is elected. Thank you for that education. Thank you very much. So indeed, the mayor is still Mr. Titus Francis, and he is offering himself again to contest in Ward 4. And I'm hoping that he and every single person whose name I call here tonight will take the opportunity to offer themselves to speak with you, share with us their plans, their thoughts, why they want to be on the council, their plans for the town of Portsmouth, how they see that all people can actually benefit from their efforts, being on the council, etc. I'm hoping I'm extending an open invitation to every single one of these individuals. I've done it, by the way, for a number of them that I've been able to reach, and I'm hoping that they will buy into coming and share with you folks their plans. So let me thank all of you for being here tonight. Those of you who joined us, and for sharing, those of you who share the live that other people can benefit from the discussion. All of you for the questions, the comments. Your comments and questions made a difference to the discussion. So very much we appreciate it. And at the end of the day, I want to say to all of you, all of us in the town of Portsmouth, this is our town. We have a responsibility to build it. Central government will come, central government will go, different people will lead, but we as a people in the town, we live here and we must cherish and participate in what happens in this place so that we can be satisfied that we have a place that is thriving and a place that is developing. Ashton mentioned the importance of leadership at every level, and that is my personal perspective too, that we need strong leadership at every level in the town, in sports clubs, in church groups, in whatever it is, community groups and organizations. We need strong leaders. So let us get on board, play our part, first with our votes, and then, of course, to put our hands, dirty our hands, get involved and make a difference. I count on you. The community counts on you. We count on your vote. All right? Go out and vote on October 5th to be part of the process of development of our town, the town of Portsmouth. May God bless you. Have a splendid weekend. Let us all keep safe. Let us be vigilant. Remember to follow the protocols. I always say that. Re-COVID-19 so that we can have a very safe country. May God bless you. Thank you, and thank you once again. As I end, I like to end with my little All right, here we go, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.